Kerry McCauley. Welcome to Coin Toss. We begin today with the 2015 NBA Finals, a finals that took a completely different turn in Game 4. Cleveland, in the third quarter of Game 4, managed to get within 1 point, and they did take a 7-0 lead to begin the game. But they weren't able to close out the Golden State Warriors in a game that would have given them a commanding 3-1 series lead, and now the series is tied 3-2. Mainly because of the adjustments Coach Steve Kerr made. Well, Steve Kerr didn't make and then made, and we all found out he lied about not making them. See, what Kerr did was go small ball, and when you look at the games that had been played this series, it's easy to see why. When Golden State made all their big runs, they were small ball. When they had the lineup they used to start Game 5, LeBron was at his least effectiveness. Bringing Andre Iguodala in, and as well as the discovery of David Lee, changed the series. If you watched Game 4, you saw that Iguodala was different guarding LeBron James than Harrison Barnes was. He guarded not necessarily better, but with a different mentality that limited LeBron James' efficiency to 29%. If you can get that out of LeBron, you're good for a win against this depleted Cavaliers roster. And the Cavs shot 7 for 57 from three-point range, which is not enough to get it done. The result? A 21-point victory. A fitting one because last year's NBA Finals, LeBron lost the game at home by 21 points to the San Antonio Spurs. And the Golden State Warriors have become, maybe excluding the Atlanta Hawks and the Spurs themselves, the NBA's newest Spurs. So, what did Golden State do? They went small. They moved Draymond Green, who stands 6'7", to center and played at one time 4 guards: Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Shaun Livingston, and Andre Iguodala. This lineup worked really efficiently to get them fast because that is the way they knew they could beat Cleveland. When Cleveland fell down to a big lead, they had to start speeding it up, which only increased the Warriors' lead. So now the series is tied 2-2, heading back to a best of 3, 2 of them in Golden State and 1 in Cleveland. Here's what we know. You can forget the previous 4 games of the series unless you're Cleveland, because now Cleveland is the team that has to make adjustments. Neither team had to do it after games 1 and 2 because those games were so close, both of them to overtime, that it would be foolish to make adjustments and not trust the strength of your lineup. After Game 3, Golden State had to make them, and they did make them to perfection. Now Cleveland has to counteract that. And Game 5, maybe even over a Game 7, is the biggest in the series because the momentum has gotten back to just about even. Whoever wins this is going to take the momentum and is going to have a big edge in the series. If it's Golden State, you get to go to Cleveland in Game 6 with the security blanket of a Game 7 waiting, and you can try and bring Cleveland out in 2 chances. But if you're Cleveland and you win Game 5, you get the chance to write the perfect story and win Cleveland's first title since 1964 in front of your home fans. Now, if you watch Game 4, a lot of critics have risen about LeBron and his finals record. Even if he loses this, it's important to note that LeBron is doing something absolutely special here. Michael Jordan did go 6-0 in finals, but when you look at the cast that surrounded him, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, he had a lot of support. LeBron James, for the most part, had that support when he's gotten to the finals, but not this year. This year, he's having to carry the load against the best team in the NBA all by himself. And when you look through the entire group of NBA players throughout NBA history, there's only one person who I think might be able to win that series. And you're watching him play in a Cavaliers uniform. LeBron, if he can pull this series out, will have the single greatest finals performance in NBA history. And maybe he won't have to be Jordan to be the greatest ever. But that's a different conversation for a different day. The other thing you need to do for this series, we have to look back to last year's series, the 2014 NBA Finals, because it showed us that finals is all about team. Not the team with the best players, but the better team won. The Spurs passed the ball efficiently and played as the better team than the Miami Heat throughout the entire series, and that's why they won. Golden State did that in Game 4. But that same theme is being put to brilliant effect in this series, just on both sides. The series will not be won by Stephen Curry or LeBron James. You can get 25, maybe 30 out of them every night guaranteed for the last 3 games. The players you have to watch are the role players. For Cleveland, that's Timofey Mozgov, J.R. Smith, and Matthew Dellavedova. For Golden State, it's Draymond Green, Andre Iguodala, and Shaun Livingston, and maybe David Lee too. Those role players will be the key to the game because they will show who has the better all-around team and who functions as the better team. And the group that functions as the better team is the one that's going to win. When you look at each role player, it's important to note how much of an X factor they are. For a guy like Shaun Livingston, if he can come on and provide points, he can give relief to guards or speed the pace up. Andre Iguodala has, while not championship experience, championship pedigree, and has guarded LeBron James like a menace the entire series. Remember what we said about Matthew Dellavedova guarding Curry? That's what Iguodala's been doing on the best player in the game. For Cleveland, Timofey Mozgov was brilliant in Game 4. 23 points and 10 rebounds, which is more than the entire totals he had as the Denver Nuggets. Mozgov stands as proof that the Nuggets had the talent to be good these past few years and just haven't been. And this is an organization that's considering hiring Mike D'Antoni. But enough on my, unfortunately, Nuggets. Timofey Mozgov has to play like the 7-foot beast that's got 4 inches on everybody that he is, because he has to be the interior finisher and the rock that gets Cleveland rebounds. Same can go for Tristan Thompson. Dellavedova has to be a menace to Curry and get for every loose ball like he was in Game 3. And J.R. Smith has to get out of Knicks mode because he's been in Knicks mode the entire time and might be serving to Golden State's benefit. I remember a play from Game 4 where he missed about 3 wide open threes. The very next possession, Golden State, Curry went down and shot a contested 3 and hit it. That's the difference between J.R. Smith and some of these elite players. And also, another thing to take note in the series is that fatigue will start to set in. And the longer the series draws out, the more it will favor Golden State. You saw in Game 4 that Matthew Dellavedova had to take a break for cramping. LeBron James sat out at the beginning of the fourth quarter when the Golden State Warriors really put it away. The question may not be whether Cleveland has the talent to beat Warriors in a 7-game series. It might be whether they have the numbers. Cleveland's playing 7 men out of necessity. Golden State 7 out of luxury. That's something to note, that as the series draws on, the Warriors will gain more and more of an advantage because of fatigue. And now comes the question. Through this point in the series, who's the MVP? If it's the Cavaliers, LeBron is undoubtedly the MVP for his performance. But at the Warriors, it's tricky. Stephen Curry hasn't been his usual self. Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. In my opinion, there's 2 people that deserve the MVP. Andre Iguodala and David Lee. Iguodala has been the menace on LeBron James that the Golden State Warriors needed. And simply put, when Iguodala's played significant minutes, the Warriors are 2-0. And when he hasn't, they're 0-2 in these finals. He provides an impact and provides a veteran pedigree for a guy who's been a multiple-time All-NBA team, multiple-time All-Star, and a guy who's won the dunk contest before. For David Lee, he provides that added depth. He's a big man who offensively can score inside, rebound well, and even pass out a couple times. He's the perfect scream and roll teammate to Steph Curry. And if you watch and listen to Curry, Lee's been one of his most favorite friends on the Warriors. They have impeccable chemistry, and that could play a big part in the finals. And it would be ironic that Lee's last moments as a Warrior will be his greatest. It's starting to become more of a consensus that Lee will leave the Warriors after this year. So his last moment in a Golden State Warriors uniform might be lifting up the Finals MVP trophy. Here's what we know, though, and the one thing is for certain. This is a series for the ages. We saw the first 2 games of the series unprecedentedly go to overtime, and the next 2 be great shutout fights. These are 2 great teams, and a series of this quality doesn't come around often. So watch this series, but don't just watch for LeBron, and don't just watch for Curry. Watch for all the guys who nobody knew about that people are starting to realize now. Watch for the resurgence of David Lee, or the veteran leadership of Andre Iguodala as he fights to get his first title for a player who has really deserved one over his career. Watch the emergence of Matthew Dellavedova. See if J.R. Smith can finally put his doubts to bed and become the elite sharpshooter the Cavaliers so desperately need him to be. Watch and cherish, because something like this won't come around for a long time. For Coin Toss, I've been Cameron McCauley. Thanks for watching.